think we can kick it off. Welcome to our Fireside Chat, live Fireside Chat together with Microsoft and Pridis. Topic today is what's next in voice innovation. We'll look into a bit of the future, also what's happening at the moment. Ivan will look back on last week, what's been said during Microsoft Ignite. So I think this will be a very fruitful webinar with the live discussion based on a couple of questions that we have for the speakers. So I'd like to welcome you to Peter Brooks, who hopefully all of you may know. My colleague, EMEA, Sales Director, Contact Center, EMEA, Ivan Jankovic, Teams Technical Specialist for Microsoft, and then last but not least, Casper Hendricks, Director Global Sales for Pridis. Like I said, we'll look at the future, AI productivity and customer contact. If any of you have any questions, technology-based or out of curiosity, commercial-based, feel free to ask them in the chat. In about half an hour, we'll also have an open floor where you can ask your questions. Ideally, we would like to ask you to speak up, and so we can have some kind of a personal conversation. Right now, I would like to give, before I go into the agenda, give the floor to Peter. Just give a simple introduction, and after that, to Ivan and Casper as well.
Thanks, Carsten. So my name is Peter Brooks, within AudioCodes, responsible for the contact center solutions in EMEA, and working closely with, amongst others, the Microsoft team when it comes to contact center solutions and bringing voice to Microsoft, and of course Pridis as well. We have a good working relationship with those guys, so it's nice to be on a call with Ivan and Casper.
Yeah, fully agree. Ivan, can you give a short introduction for the people who may not know you or haven't seen you before or would like to know more? Of course, Microsoft is a no-brainer, but maybe you can tell us what your specialization is.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Carsten. Ivan Jankovic, 12 years at Microsoft. I was 8 years in engineering, as at that time, maybe for the people who don't know, as an OCS guy for business, and today obviously Teams phone specialist. I traveled all over the globe to provide proactive and reactive service to our largest enterprise customers. And since a year of 3, I'm back in the Microsoft Netherlands sub, working as a Teams technical specialist, strong focus on phone, Teams rooms, obviously also around Copilot, now everything around artificial intelligence. And I think it's great to be here today with the partners, AudioCodes and Pridis. Thank you, Carsten, for the intro.
Thanks, Ivan. Thanks. Casper, like I said, last but not least, what can you tell about yourself?
Sorry, Casper, you're on mute.
My mic was... Sorry, I'm back,
yes.
I guess. That's a great start of an introduction. Struggling with technology. So as said, Casper Hendricks, responsible for sales and partnerships in Pridis. Been in the communication industry for 14 years now. Been focusing on software solutions and improving collaboration technology. And happy to be here with AudioCodes and Microsoft.
Yep, thank you. I think it's a good time to start the discussion and have a real fireside chat. So quickly the agenda: open questions and panel discussions, about 25 to 30 minutes. We want to keep it interesting and have about 5 minutes per question. So 4 to 5 questions in total. Open floor for audience, as discussed. Feel free to ask anything already in the chat. If there's something said and you want to add to that or want to know more, please let us know in the chat. We can come back to that during the open floor for audience questions. Then finally, we have some recommendations, including opportunities to meet the speakers in person and coming activities where we will present the latest innovations. That will take about 5 minutes, and then we have everything covered. going to the first questions, what's the impact? How does voice affect the modern collaboration paradigm, and what role does voice play in the Microsoft landscape? I think this is a good question to start with Ivan. I think all of you have something to say about this, but Ivan, can you kick off and give your insight on this question?
Yeah. So if you look at what we announced last week, I think one of the things was what Seata Nadella, our CEO, says, like, we're becoming a co-pilot company where we infuse all our artificial intelligence into our products. And it starts from Teams to Dynamics to Azure. But one of the interesting things what I learned is we're also infusing this in our voice solutions, right? And something which I will show you in a couple of slides later. What I learned from it is the world is changing at a rapid pace. It's, for me, mind-blowing. I spoke with my wife last weekend about it. I've said, like, I cannot sleep anymore about it because it's going so fast. So how does it transition? If you look at traditional voice is something which kind of has evolved from the last 30 years to something where we are today. I think we are today with all this generative AI at a crossroad where we will infuse traditional voice with all those goodness around AI into the voice spectrum. And that could be on contact center solutions, on Teams Phone itself, on mobility, and then all that security and compliance enterprise grade features when land about it. I think it will enrich the user experience, be more productive. Users will be more productive at scale. And it will be something very interesting to see what it will bring the upcoming 2 years. Sometimes customers ask me, like, hey, what's going to happen, right? What will happen in the next 5 years? And honestly, sometimes you just say, I don't know. The world is changing extremely fast, and also in the voice spectrum. The good thing is we are bringing those features also into our voice capabilities, and obviously also in Teams Phone.
Great. I think that's something that that's also the reason why we have this fireside chat to really go into a bit more detail. Okay, this is a great introduction, I think, because this is something people are wondering, what's happening, what's next, what's coming. 5 years is a bit long, I think, to have to give a clear overview. But what we see right now at the moment, and the coming period is something I think we can have to demonstrate and to share with the audience. Peter, maybe you can add to this, or Casper.
Yeah, well, if I look back, I joined AudioCodes like 7 years ago, and I remember I was talking to my friends. I said I was joining AudioCodes in the contact center practice, and they were like, "Yeah, but wait, AudioCodes has voice, right? So what are you guys gonna do in the contact center with voice? Voice, it's gone. It's the past. Now it's all about digital." And yes, digital is important, and we see that every day. But I think we all agree that voice is still the main channel being used by people, whether it's on UC or in the contact center space. And it's been quite, let's say, quiet in that space. There was not really a lot of evolution until a few years ago. And then all of a sudden, Microsoft came to play. And on the UC side, everything changed thanks to Microsoft with their approach to UC and UC as a service. And the same has happened on the contact center space, where we've seen everything from all these on-prem solutions that were kind of everybody had the same. And then now we see big change, and the change is going faster and faster. And one of the reasons why we see such a big change and a rapid change is, and Ivan already mentioned it, is anything AI and AI related. Yeah. So it's amazing what we see, and no one could have predicted 5 years ago where we would be today. And I think we underestimate sometimes the change that will happen. We typically overestimate on the very short term. Look at what we did with ChatGPT. When was it? A year and a half ago. We said it's going to change the world, but it didn't immediately. So then people said, okay, what's it going to bring? But if we will go back and if we see where we will be in 5 years from now, we would never have been able to estimate the change that this will bring. So there's a lot of change coming. And I think what we heard at Ignite from Microsoft is only the start.
Yeah. And then in terms of how it affects the collaboration paradigm, is that something we have to take into consideration? Do you expect a shift when it comes to telephony or voice compared to other channels?
We've seen a lot of digital channels being added, right? Now, okay, I'm more in the contact center space, so I can talk a lot about the contact center topics.
Mhm.
So if you look at the number of interactions that coming into a contact center, they have not decreased. On the contrary, they've increased. And what we've seen is the voice has remained the same. So you still have the same number of voice interactions. What we've seen is we've slowly seen growing the digital part, which meant the overall number of interactions has grown. And typically, enterprises don't have more people to handle this. So what would they need to do is now going to use AI to handle those additional interactions, whether they're digital or voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can do this
Completely
within the
makes
Microsoft
sense.
landscape. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just in the innovation, there's voice is just another channel, but I think just since we're humans, it's still a very important channel, right? Because otherwise, even in prep of this Fireside chat, we could have used ChatGPT to prepare our answers and then just get some text across the screen. But it's also really great to just have this interaction with our voices as well, right? So just getting the combination of the different technologies all together, where you really just leverage the advantages of voice and then bring in all the digital advantages is definitely what bring the future. And at which pace, that I think nobody can predict it indeed. Yeah.
True. Fair point, Casper. Makes it personal, and especially a live session. Fully agree.
And I just want to add something, 2 components on it. I think a phone call still makes a difference, right? On how you get responses, avoid misunderstanding, you build personal relationships. It improves this customer service with deeper understanding. It's just how we enrich that specific phone call.
Indeed.
And that's all about it. And we have basically in the market kind of 3 pillars, right? We started with something which was called, maybe you know about it, it was called like the customer engagement solutions, right? CAC. And then it was like 7-8 years ago, right? And now we are kind of transitioning to contact center as a service. I think Peter mentioned it already, like where we are in, maybe more omni-channel related. And now, where voice is still the basics of it, we call something like contact center AI. Right? That's kind of our next goal. And so it's just an evolution which we are following. And I think that's the exciting part of it. Voice is just still the fundament. We are just enriching it with our contact center partners, obviously, with it.
Yeah. Great addition. Then we can go a bit more into that, how to add the quality and the transition there when we look at the next questions. In terms of time, I think we have to better move to the next one. This is just Peter, maybe you can elaborate since you've asked this to add here.
It's a complex slide and maybe a bit overcrowded, but it gives an idea about what's happening, especially, well, as I said before, I'm focusing more on the contact center side, right? But I guess you want to see, okay, what do we do in terms of voice technology and what advantages that offers to employees and customers, and where does AI play a role? And as you can see, yes, it's hidden a bit in the bottom right corner, but it should be left and center of everything in this space, right? Because yes, connecting to a contact center is important, and the connectivity for an agent and where the agent can work. Yep, and then connecting into Dynamics or the digital contact center platform from Microsoft and Teams, etc. But where I see a lot of things happening today is on the conversational AI stuff, and we typically see like 4 use cases in this, where in the past, well, the first one is replacing a traditional IVR, right? Everybody knows this dreadful IVR. Press 1 for Dutch, press 2 for French, and then 10 steps later, you hopefully get to talk to an agent. And then the first thing that they will do is like, oh, you're calling for an insurance. That's from my colleague. Let me transfer you. And you're gone again. So it's dreadful. So what we do there is actually you take advantage of what we can do with NLUs. And you will just go, morning, welcome to AudioCodes. How can I help you? I've got a question on, and you can just use your natural language. It's just pure voice. And then we'll steer the call to the right person, or you will go through a flow where you can just ask the questions and answer, and then you will get to the right answer. So it's replacing that traditional IVR. So that's 1. 2 is virtual agents. Typically, we mentioned it before, more interactions in the contact center, less people, so you need to automate. So you can have, let's say, a virtual assistant replace an agent for part of a call or a complete call. And a third one is agent assist, where the technology is not going to replace the agent, but it's going to help the agent perform his job better. And that's where I see a lot of things happening today. And I think in Ignite with Copilot for Service, there was a lot of focus on it as well. I've been in since last week, and this was announced. I've been in literally 3-4 calls a day talking about, okay, how can we add Copilot to, for example, Genesys Cloud contact center, or how can I integrate this with Salesforce? So lots of interest from customers on this, and you see how important this is in the market today. So that was actually the third use case. A fourth one is actually outbound. But I think, as I mentioned before, Agent Assist is by far the hottest thing in contact center today when we talk about AI and where AI adds value to employees and customers. Because that's what you see, right? It's not just the customer that gets assisted, it's also the employee that gets a lot of help from the technology in this case.
Yeah. And then it also helps to onboard agents faster, right? This is also quite a challenge in the market.
Yeah, and I think we can all say a lot of stuff about how you get help from an agent these days. But it's difficult if you need to hire someone and then train them for like 2-3 weeks before they can take the first call. That takes a lot of time and effort from a company. If you can shorten that period in time by giving the technology that can assist them with Agent Assist, it shortens that time. It gives them more confidence to take that first call and to do their job and to do it in a good way.
Yeah, better quality as well. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let's move to the next question. Yeah, you've highlighted a little bit already the benefits of AI.
Yeah, sorry,
integration.
I already stole thunder on this
okay,
one.
That's okay.
So I think we might give Casper or Ivan some time on this one, because I already talked about this way too much.
Tip of the iceberg. There's a lot to discuss here. What benefits does modern voice technology offer to organizations, employees, and customers, really from their angle, and what role does AI play in this? I think there's a lot to educate enterprises on these innovations. Casper, Ivan, if you want, take the floor.
Ivan, you go. Say, you had some announcement.
Well, I mean, I think Peter kind of mentioned it already. I think one of the important thing is, just from an employee and customer perspective, AI is complementary, right? It's you are still, as employee, customer, or even as organization, in control. AI is not the magic button. It's just unleashes the amount of productivity increase into the contact center world if we kind of scope it to that one. I get questions from my customers always like, okay, this is cool, right? AI, it works, we can enrich it. But what kind of impact will it really bring to my organization? That's something which I get daily in my day-to-day job with my enterprise customers. Like, what kind of impact will it bring? Will it bring cost savings? Will it enrich end user experience? Or will it even enrich customer? I think Peter gave a great example. Like, I get this all the time. I call a number, press one, and you end up in 6 different departments where they go like, oh, you're on the wrong department. That piece from a customer perspective, there is where AI can play a significant role to enrich that user experience, but also for the agent, wrap up time, for example, follow-ups, being concise in how you respond to your end customers. And then on an organizational level is the impact on the organization itself. And this is key here. It's like, how does this impact the transformation within my organization on my customers and my employees?
Yeah.
I think that's the key question today, which is a difficult question to answer. That's...
Can you give your normal answer in a short summary, or because I think this is the answer a lot of our people from the audience would like to know, like what do you emphasize and then what do you leave out initially?
I didn't catch your last question, sorry.
So the question here is, like you said, what impact does it have on the organization? Probably where to start. For them, it's for the enterprises, for the organization, it's very hard to see what the effect will be. Maybe you have an example of where some innovations were initiated and the results that came out of it, or.
Oh yeah, so there are a lot of numbers around how we increase productivity. For example, one of the examples is that we some of our early programs where we infused AI, for example, in Dynamics, we saw that the user experience from customers, they surveyed customers, did basically A/B testing, where customers entered a contact center solution, they were enriched with AI. And then afterwards, they did a test on a non-AI contact center solution, and they surveyed the end users. And the survey showed actually that the customer they gave an average number of between 1 and 10, like 10 is very good, 1 is very poor, of 8.7 for the first 3 steps when AI was infused in the contact center. Without AI, it was around 5. It was less experience. And I think that's one of the things which is important if you look at the data, how we test our solutions, where it is enriched with AI. I think that was one of the great use cases where we see like, okay, it really brings value for contact center solutions from a customer perspective.
Yeah, and from an organizational perspective, and when it comes to efficiency or cost savings,
and this is kind of challenging. Let me give you a good simple example. Let's assume that AI will give a contact center agent 1 hour more efficiency back to the organization. We have something which is called productivity rate, but it doesn't mean like if he or she does his job 1 hour faster, does it mean that he will bring the whole hour back to the organization, which can consider be cost savings, or will that he or she go out for 30 minutes, get a break, be more relaxed improve the well-being? So the question is like, how much time will you give back to your organization, which is a cost-saving thing, maybe 30 minutes, and how will you improve your well-being for your agent, because agents are constantly being called. So that thing, what we call productivity rate, is currently what we are kind of assessing with our Copilot solutions, like how much cost savings versus how much employee improving, which is the hot topic currently in the enterprise market.
Yeah, and the call
Yeah,
handling as well, right? How many calls can you handle?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Avoid boarding out people. It's a information overload, right? So this is kind of discussion which I have on a daily basis.
And clearly, I think with the advantage of having more, well, sort of more relaxed agents in your contact center, that in itself brings a cost saving to the organization, because you won't be burning your high class
Exactly.
agents and then need to backfill these spaces when they give up or move on or stuff. And I think the benefit of just entering AI into that workspace for them, it's not concern for their jobs, but just more really getting to the to the core of customer service and bringing the human aspect there, right?
Yeah.
So they don't get burned, because they have a lot of tools available for them as well with the AI offerings.
Yeah, so they can focus, so the agents can focus on the more complicated tasks and questions and go deeper into the discussions with customers. Whereas for simple tasks, for instance, with IKEA, you call for people might call like, "Can I get an ice cream?" And other people might call, "I need help for my kitchen design." You don't want the same agent to handle both questions.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
and you're right. And if you look at where it brings value to the organization, there are lots of ways you can show ROIs if that's where an organization is looking at. And if I look at where today we see a quick ROI when implementing AI technology in the contact center space, it's around AI call summarization. Typically, an agent will take, after each call, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, depends a bit on the complexity of the call, to actually write a summary himself, go over it, copy paste it, save it in the CRM system or in any back office application that he needs to save it in. If we can avoid the agent spending that much time on just summarizing the call and having technology do it, there's a huge saving in time per agent per call. And then it's about, okay, what do we do with that? Do we give it back to the organization or to the employee, to the agent? And that's where a lot of enterprises are now looking to see what brings the most ROI to them. But just having that call summarization done by AI instead of the agent itself, it brings a lot of value. And not just the time saving, because let's face it, if I write a summary at 9 a.m. in the morning after a call, it's typically going to be pretty elaborated. If that's the call at 5 p.m. after having done a lot of calls during the day, my summary is going to be talk to Karsten, fix the issue.
Yeah.
That's the summary. I mean, let's face it, we're all human, so are agents. And if we do it with AI, AI will have the complete summary each and every time. And that's where, well, we all agree, I think, that data are important for an enterprise. So is knowledge management. If we want to use data correctly, we need to have the right data. We will only have the right data if the input is right.
Yeah.
And there also AI can really help.
Yeah, good point. Considering the time, we have to move to the next question. Very interesting discussions. Peter, can we skip this one, or is it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Just skip this one. It's all
We'll
about
share it.
AI and connecting AI. So
We'll share it afterwards as well.
It looks great though.
It looks great. So the challenges and opportunities, I think this is an important question. We highlighted some of it already, discussed it. The question really should be, I think, here on how to overcome specific challenges. Yeah, maybe also overcoming the resistance of using AI, and also if there are some quick fixes when it comes to voice technology. Yeah, which developments are easiest to deploy or to execute? Casper, can you say something about that?
I think a lot of challenges currently in organizations is that there is a heritage, which means that there are legacy systems in place, and I think, well, I don't have the numbers, and probably Ivan even can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that 98% of the organizations are using Microsoft Teams at some point as well. But then they're also looking at using their legacy systems and how can they manage traffic between those different systems.
Mhm.
And I think that's a big challenge that organizations face today, that they cannot provide the stellar service that they want to provide, because they have a mixture of systems in place. And then I think so. Surprisingly, we can help with that, but I think that's in partnership with AudioCodes already and with Microsoft. But I think that's one challenge, because there is a heritage, and you can't get rid of that because of a lot of reasons. And then at the same time, in the voice systems, and especially when you look at the contact center industry, there's also how people sometimes get stuck in queues and looking for leverage of getting straight to the right agent or to the right solution is still, I think, a big challenge for a lot of organizations. So, but as touched on earlier, with AI, we can go a long way there.
Good. Peter or Ivan, anything to add?
No, I think Casper is spot on. There's maybe this third component which I might add, like the whole ethical part of it, privacy, etc. There's a large discussion around it, how it gets infused in voice, etc. But the 2 points are initial one, like the legacy ones, where you infuse it with AI, and then kind of the next step to responsible AI. That's the top question which I mostly get.
Okay. Well, was this also highlighted in during Ignite?
Oh, of course. I mean, it's a broader topic than only voice, right?
Yeah,
AI in general it's like how do we treat it? How do we absorb it? How do we adopt it? And how does all the whole governance and privacy land on it? Yeah, there were quite a lot of fireside chats on Ignite. I recommend everybody in the call to take a look at it because it discusses a lot of topics around security and compliance in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter, just a quick insight from you to explain how AudioCodes does this or helps partners and customers.
Well, if you look at all this new technology, and I think Casper is spot on, right? You have an existing environment that you tend to keep alive, and then you're bringing new technologies in, and it all needs to integrate and blend. And let's all agree, bringing voice into there is not always easy. It tends to get complex. And for a company, it's all about, okay, how do I integrate this? Can I do this in an easy way without making things too complex, too long to integrate, too difficult to do? And one of the things we are trying to do at AudioCodes is make it as easy as possible to start integrating those new solutions. And we've got something that we call Live Hub, which allows you to integrate, for example, AI with bots. So we can voice enable bots, for example, Copilot for Service. We can integrate that, and it's on the SaaS platform. So it really is as easy as like 3-4 clicks, and you've got it integrated, and you can easily start and deploy this. So it's the easy way to bring new technology into an existing environment, and this is how we try to help end customers bring, as you can see here on the screen, for example, bot frameworks, integrate that into your existing environment, bring Teams in there and Teams Phone, integrate with contact centers like Dynamics 365, and you make use of all the cognitive speech services from Microsoft. So it's trying to make something really complex as easy as possible so that you can use it with just a few clicks on the SaaS platform.
Yep. Great addition. Casper, would you want to highlight something here for the...
Yeah, so here's the dashboard I was referring to earlier, which is clearly in attendance services, but also in the small in smaller government bodies, where there's a lot of people answering phones and calls and text requests, where they're looking for a dashboard. So it doesn't come across very clearly in this solution, but this is our Connexi solution that integrates with AudioCodes and is certified for Microsoft Teams. Okay. Where you can blend all these communication channels and get a view of availability of resources internally on the legacy systems as well as in Microsoft systems, so that you can be really efficient in putting requests forward to the relevant people inside your organizations. And this is we've seen a lot of traction in the past quarters with larger partners on UCaaS solutions for adding this to their solution, as it's blending in. It works in the hybrid mode, and therefore it gives a lot of not only enhanced customer experience but also enhanced user experience, which again, to my earlier point, avoids frustrated employees leaving because they just get overloaded with work and don't know how to get rid of the problems that they're facing in their work.
Yeah, this helps streamline everything, of course. Multi-language support, I see. View status, ideal. Great addition to the whole communication routine.
Yeah, definitely.
Concerning time, we have
collaborations.
We have to move to the final question. I'm not sure we should spend too much time on it, considering we might have to answer some questions still from the audience. But Eva, maybe you can quickly say what Microsoft expects to see in 2024, or what you expect personally.
Yeah, I posted in the chat due to the time window what kind of announcements we did in Ignite. I think I would recommend everybody to take a look at it. We announced so many, but for voice itself, it's some enrichments in Team Phone, and obviously a lot of AI infusion in Team Phone. That's kind of the things which we will see kind of moving forward into 2024.
Yeah, I think super interesting. Highly recommend people to watch the Ignite sessions, the specific ones. And if you want to know more, feel free to schedule a meeting with us, either physically or online. And there's some events coming up as well. For instance, Cloud Expo in the Netherlands, in Houten. We are, I think all of us are present with a booth. So there's time to discuss this further. See, then the audience Q&A. If anybody has a question, feel free to speak out. It can also be done in the chat, but ideally it would be nice to hear somebody's voice, since it's a webinar or a fireside chat on voice innovation. Give me anything. Something that's burning, or do you like to know from the speakers? Feel free to speak up.
This is your time to ask a question.
Maybe we can pick out one from the chat.
I don't see anybody posted nothing in the chat. I think everybody was listening carefully to what we had to say.
That's also good. Well, considering the time, it doesn't. That's actually an advantage at this point. Also, feel free afterwards to reach out to any of us on LinkedIn or by email. All possible. We'll come back to any questions that might pop up later in your day, or when you discuss it with your colleagues. So that's it. I'd like to thank all the speakers. So Peter, Ivan, Casper, thanks for the input. I think it was a very interesting discussion. Something I'd also like to have, physically. I think it adds value if we can have this discussion in an open setting. So look for next year to plan something in our Rotterdam office. So we can also have some drinks afterwards. But that's it from my end. Does any of you want to share something, or?
Just say thank you for the organization and allowing us to bring this to the people. So thanks, Carsten.
Okay, thanks a lot. Enjoy
Thanks
your day.
for the invitation.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks, Casper.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Bye-bye.